Testing, testing. Bonafide hustler here.
Ranking profit.
The college picker.
Cody Hawk.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Green Room Hangout number 3 of Season 2, and today we're going to be talking about the battles ahead, basically what it takes to become an entrepreneur and what you can expect when you decide to join the league of entrepreneur peoples. Hey, I'm the Bonafide hustler, and I reside in Austin, Texas. I'm a flipper of things that I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, pawn shops, swap meets, flea markets, and I put it on places like Amazon, eBay, my antique booth, and consignment stores in town. I am the author of this amazing book that I can't say because I don't want to cuss on the show, and Bikes to Bucks. But that's who I am. I'll toss it over to my main man, Reagan.
Thanks, my man. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody tuning in to watch. My name's Steve Rakin. I go by Rakin Profit on YouTube. I'm from Connecticut, 28 years old. I've done a lot of different businesses, from eBay to Amazon to Craigslist to Kindle Publishing to recently what I'm getting ready to start is a vending machine business, and getting pumped up to start that. But that's going to follow suit for the topic in this video, you know, being an entrepreneur. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm going to pass it off to CP.
How's it going, guys? My name's Eric. I just turned 27 like a week or a week and a half ago, and I reside in the northern border of from Austin to Oklahoma right now. So I'm here in Oklahoma, hitting the thrift around the Yukon area, Oklahoma City, and I've done Amazon, Craigslist, a little bit of Etsy, a little bit of eBay, and now I'm pretty big in Amazon FBA, and I'm about to buy a Prius. I'm going to pass it over to Cody.
What's up, guys? Cody Hawk, pretty much the king of the world, and today we are going to talk about the battles ahead as an entrepreneur. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
Okay, so I guess that's the pass off to me. Where's Young, by the way? If everyone's thinking, where's Young? Where's the fifth admin? Well, Young had some obligations.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, he's got some obligations, but he might be here later. Yeah, so today's topic is the battles ahead, and we're going to get to that in 1 second. I do want to shout out some people that are in the comment feed. And by the way, if you do want to be heard, we do have a live stream going on. It's on the right column. If you're looking at your YouTube video right now, take a look at the right column. You can put in whatever you want. It's going live right now. We have Cody Orgill in the house, Picker 399, Halloween Props, Tim Skinner, Les Ehart, Dr. Serious, Dan. We have Cool Toads. Uh-oh, secondary feed. We have Sean Patrick Sosalile. Oh, I might mess this up. Come Up King, Walt Ruth, Full something Mike. Let me make sure I get this. I gotta recognize everyone. Full Melt Mike, Hearts Picker, Tim Skinner, Pereiro, Stacy Staggs, and Walking Picker in the house. So, like I said, take a look at the feed if you want to talk to us. And think about your own situation. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, about to become an entrepreneur, think about some questions you might want to ask, and we will rotate those questions around the panel so that way you can get a really clear and concise answer. So, who wants to start it off? You know, we always start off with me, but let's kick it off a little bit differently this time. Rakin, let's go right into our subject right now. First of all, for the people that are watching, how would you define an entrepreneur versus like a reseller that maybe does it for a hobby? How does an entrepreneur differ from like a part-time reseller, Rakin?
Well, the first thing I'd say is an entrepreneur, that's like what they're doing. Like they're 100% like going into business. They're relying on their businesses to, you know, pay their bills, to create their nest egg, and, you know, to pretty much bring all the income in. That's not the definition of an entrepreneur, but, you know, someone who's just a part-time reseller, they're kind of just doing it on the side, just trying to make a few dollars. But in my opinion, what an entrepreneur is somebody who is willing to take a risk, start up businesses, has a vision, wants to create something that adds value to somebody's life, and they're a visionary. They're someone who likes to create and build, and pretty much someone who's not afraid to take a risk and put themselves out there knowing that there's no guarantee that you're going to succeed, and there's actually a good shot that you will fail. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my thought on that.
Okay, so College Picker, if you had to think, do you think people are just born entrepreneurs, or do they just morph into it? Maybe they get tired of a boss, a certain job, and they're like, what do you think? How does an entrepreneur get? What do you think? What do you think happens? Do they get tired of doing something and they're like, I'm dying to like make my own thing? Like, what's your spin on that?
That's the philosophy of nature versus nurture. We can't get into that. That's pretty deep. But I think people are born it, but also pushed into it as well. I think
Okay,
it's
so that might
both.
be pushed into it. And let's talk to Cody, who's an entrepreneur, who became an entrepreneur very early in life. So, Cody, what made you even think about becoming an entrepreneur?
From very early, I had a couple of jobs, and I realized it wasn't for me. Entrepreneur, by definition, is someone who can solve problems, someone who can create something, someone who can actually build something to fill a void. And I knew from a young age that it was something that was ingrained into me. I was always trying to come up with little businesses and strategies to be able to grow beyond what everyone else was doing.
Okay. And if I had to be asked, like, do I think an entrepreneur ever stops growing? I would say absolutely not. I think once you have the entrepreneurial knack, you're always searching for ways to A, either make your own business better, or B, seek out a better use of your time. Would you agree with that, Raken?
Oh, absolutely, man, 100%.
So, now that we're talking about what an entrepreneur clearly is, Raken, take us on, really, before we get into our subject, take us onto your newest entrepreneurial venture. Let's spend 30 seconds on that. What exactly is going on with the stuff behind you?
So I'm actually starting a vending machine business, and I'm starting off with bulk candy. So as you can see, I'm not sure if you can see it where my finger is. That's actually a Northwestern double head bulk candy vending machine. One side has M&Ms, the other side has peanuts, and I'm actually going to be putting these in barbershops, restaurants, maybe dance studios, various places around. So that's my first one, and going to be scaling that up. But it's a long-term play, and it's a risk. And that kind of goes into what I was saying before as an entrepreneur. Certain businesses you're not going to make money for a while, and I think that's something that an entrepreneur is willing to do, willing to put themselves, exchange their time and money with no guarantee that you're going to make any money at all.
Okay, and let's go back to Cody on this. From day one, Cody, did your first venture pay off immensely, yes or no?
No, my first venture was a failure.
Okay, let's talk about the venture after that and the venture after that one. Let's talk about what did you have to do to finally see a little bit of the light? Even though if the light was not the most profitable thing, what did it take? Like, how many tries did you... Let's rewind and think about that real quick.
Well, really, my second try was very successful. I started a construction company at 21, and I was making six figures, so I was doing really good, but it took a lot of work. I had to realize that one of the most important characteristics, and I had to analyze myself and other people, was consistency. I needed to be consistent, and I needed to find where I could fill that void because I was young, I had less experience, I had less knowledge of the trade, I had less knowledge of everything, so I had to find ways to be able to outwork them, outthink them, and find my little niche. And from there, I was able to build a reasonably successful construction company at a young age.
Okay, so naturally at this point, someone might be thinking on the under the end of the chat here, like, okay, so if you have a six-figure construction company, something has happened, right? At what point did you realize something went downhill? Was it your fault? And is it something that you've remedied today in your business now?
Yeah, the biggest thing, it wasn't my fault. It was a lot of people's fault. It was the economy, and the economy went down big time. We had the great, recession, and I didn't want to spend $1 to make 50 cents like a lot of contractors. I'm a fourth-generation carpenter, and so I knew a lot of people in the industry, and a lot of them were struggling to stay afloat. I took the money that I did have, decided to reinvest it into building an online business, and completely went out of my comfort zone, went a whole different direction, got a corporate job, worked my way up there, and simultaneously built a business. So I had to leap like there was no tomorrow to stay afloat. And really the only reason that gave me the strength to do that was I was getting ready to have my first daughter, and I really had no choice. I was painted into a corner. I had no education formally, so I had to, and I think dropping out of high school, I don't recommend to anybody. However, I know that it gave me the drive to know that I could get a $10. I could never do what CP does, right? But I could make the kind of money CP makes as an entrepreneur. And so I was painting myself into a corner, so I had to jump hard and, make my own parachute, really.
Okay, and I know Raken comes from a bit of I guess it's a corporate background of some sorts, but
Service background.
Yeah. At what point did you go like, you know what was it? I mean, was it your willingness to experience different things? Was it maybe one day you were bored and you decided not to do something like TV, and you're like, let me pick up my laptop and watch some YouTube? What was it? What was the final defining moment where you're like, that's it, like I'm done and I am opening up a new chapter?
This might sound corny, but it's true. I mean, I've always kind of had the entrepreneurial spirit in me, but the problem is I was never, ever consistent. I would always quit before I had any success, because any business you start, you're always going to have a failure. or multiple failures at first, and you're going to be fighting just to see any profits, any light. And the first time I started becoming consistent and successful was after watching YouTube videos. And I remember I was just miserable. I was sick and tired of doing the same thing. And once I started coming across like the reselling community and all the YouTube videos and seeing people, I know this doesn't really answer your question, but once I started seeing other people doing it and I started to network with other people, that's when it all changed. I don't remember one defining moment, but I was working at the Cracker Barrel, and I was so stressed out all the time. I just knew I had to make a change, but it all comes back to consistency.
Okay, cool. And then CP right here, formerly educated, and you have a kind of a job in the background, but you really don't, right? It's kind of a contract thing.
It is, but I run it through my own contracting business. It's all 1099, so it's completely different from a normal W-2 employer-employee work kind of relationship.
Okay. And for all intents and purposes, I mean, you're basically an entrepreneur, as I know you. You've built a guide. You're running a room in the background with us, and the way you've chosen to live your life financially is a very smart way. You're almost minimalistic, right? Whereas a majority of people have to have things and do stuff with their money to feel good. Like you actually went the complete other direction. So, so when did your entrepreneurial thing with you start? What made you even want to start this first guide that you did for, I guess, the room? And you can buy it on, was it Gumroad?
Yeah, it's on Gumroad. It's on Etsy, and I think it's in the room for free.
Okay, so but it took a while to build that thing, right? Were you ever like doubting building something?
Absolutely. Who's gonna want to read about Guitar Heroes? It was a complete failure, but it was still good, and it's a good asset to people. And the people that actually do take the time and read it really appreciate it, and they do learn something from it. Make $500 to $1,000 or more if they execute the stuff correctly, of course. But even with pharmacy, I have my own contracting business. I'm developing relationships with different sites. And down the road, I want to be the person who puts the contracts together with the employer. It's like wholesaling a pharmacist, kind of, where you have the employer, you have the employees, you mend them together, and you take a little bit off the top. So if I make a contract for $70, I could outsource a pharmacist for $60 and make $10 every time they work.
So to me, that sounds like an entrepreneurial spirit right there. I mean, Reagan's nodding his head. We see some people going like this, but that sounds to me like you understood the way everything works. Now you want to put people together and then take that middleman position.
Yeah, I'm learning about bidding contracts and how the government works, and developing relationships with sites, because they're going to know like the big name companies, but they will remember me if I had worked there and had a relationship with the administration.
Okay. Well, cool. So now you got a little bit of a background about everyone except for myself. I mean, I have a corporate background as well. Went to college, went to MBA school, did all that. Really thought corporate America was like everything, right? I think that's really what we listen to out there. Is like, got to get a job, and you're going to go for 15 to 20 years, maybe 30, and get some tenure, and then you're going to get some pension. And honestly, and Cody could probably attest to this, but the crash in 2008. Late 2008 or whatever, brink of 2009, that was a pretty awful crash. It made a lot of things uncertain. And quite honestly, that really, really brought up a lot of entrepreneurs, or if you even had a knack of the entrepreneurial spirit, I guarantee you at the end of 2008, you were probably thinking about using it. So a lot of companies are running really lean right now. What that means is they're doing away with things and processes that can just be run by fewer things, right? They're doing away with places in the company that don't need to be there anymore. Lean is scary. Don't be fooled. Lean is efficient, right? Companies got rid of all the wasteful stuff and they got efficient. And that's the world that we're pressed in right now. Don't be fooled. That's the thing. It's going on. And you think any of this stuff with overseas governments are going to help the situation? Just wait when someone with an actual, big piece of debt defaults, right? Not like a Greece kind of country, but a real country. Wait for that to happen and see what happens to our stock market. And then look at what happens to the jobs. So everything is uncertain. I'm not saying become an entrepreneur. What I'm saying is if there's any time that things are very uncertain, you better believe it that we're living in it right now. So that's going to segue right into our before we were an entrepreneur. As we were just about to get into an entrepreneur, what we have noticed, what we were living, and how you shouldn't go through this, okay? Raken, let's go with you first, man. Today, is going to be a Rake and Leads It All show.
All right, that's the way I like it.
And a lot of people are like talking right here. We got people, Thrifty Treasures, Amber Lynn, Fly Guy 22190. We have College Picker talking in the feed. And like I said, if you guys got a question for some people that have been through it, then ask us in the feed. I'm looking at it like every single second. So we'll hear what Raken has to say, but I'm going to be looking at that feed. If you got a question for us, we'll answer it for you. So Raken, let's talk about Raken that just got out of the Cracker Barrel, okay? And is hitting the streets now, inspired Rake and Profit here, but not even called Rake and Profit, just Stephen Raken, right?
Yeah.
What? Walk us through what it was like, let's say a week or two after you don't have a place to report to. You have no more boss. What does that feel like?
I felt a pressure that I never had before. It was almost like, and I'm sure Cody can relate to this when he was having his first child. It's this added pressure of, your back's against the wall and you really have no other choice. It's like that saying, I forgot how it goes, but it was that quote where they say, like, burn the ships behind you or something like that, and I forgot how it goes. Maybe you could recap that, but that's kind of what I felt like I did. Like, I burned my ships behind me, and it's like I had no other choice. It was like fight or die. Like, there was no other choice. So I remember feeling that pressure. And what that pressure really allowed me to do was take a lot more action in my business. And I remember I was doing a few different things. I think I was really big into Craigslist at the time, and I don't know if I was into eBay yet. I know I was doing a lot of bikes, but that pressure really pushed me forward. And I feel like a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we kind of like have a reserve, right? It's like we tell ourselves, like, we're going to try this and just see if it works. We're going to go in kind of half-assed and just, give it our best go, but we don't burn the ships behind us, right? We don't like go all in, and that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. It's that risk, right? It's saying to yourself, I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I'm going all in, and we'll see what happens. But that was huge right there. The pressure and just taking all that action. It was huge.
Yeah, and I'll echo on that. When I was first right out of corporate America, boy, it felt just like a vacation. I was like, wow, I can live like this forever. But that thought slowly faded away as I realized how life is really, truly a very hard thing to do. So I decided to, entertain my entrepreneurial spirit. That has been there the entire time, but I think just corporate America kind of killed it for me for a little bit. So it came out slowly, and I was like, and for those of you guys that don't know me, I was actually hustling through my corporate America years. And I was so good at it that as soon as I jumped out of corporate America and I became a stock trader, people on the trading floor were like, or just the floor that we were on, they were like, you're really good at doing this. Like on lunch breaks, you go do this. And as you guys know, the stock market's really only active about, let's say, 10% of the year. I mean, that's the only time you should be trading, really. So they would see me going off to Goodwills and doing all this stuff, and they're like, you're really good at that. Quite honestly, it almost seems like that's your passion, okay? So keep that in mind. If someone says that's your passion and you should go after it, these people sometimes know you better than you know you, okay? And I should have listened to that thing early. I really should have, but I decided to keep going at trading, and I did marginally well. I really didn't do that good at all. But I didn't listen to some of the people around me that were telling me my strengths. They were telling me a path to go to, and it was almost like a guiding light. So let's roll over to Cody real quick before I even continue my story. Did people tell you, Cody, that you just have that knack to control something, or that you like to be authoritative, you like to guide? Did you know that at a young age, or did you know that as soon as you got out of high school, or didn't finish high school?
I knew it at a young age that that's what I wanted to do, and that's why I ultimately started my construction company, and even the business I have now. I don't have as many physical, real employees here in this Spokane, Idaho area, but I have a lot of virtual assistants. I only have 3 employees nowadays. But I knew it at a young age, but for me, getting started, it's one of those things where you have that mental block. And so I started visualizing, and my biggest problem in the beginning was I could see the business, but I didn't take enough action when I was younger to actually get to where I wanted to go. I had all the ideas, but I really needed to learn to take consistent action, and that was my biggest downfall at a young age.
Yeah. And then CP, you just graduate high school, and I remember you and I were, not high school, but you just graduate college, and you and I talk, we were talking here and there because you had come down to Austin quite a few times by that time, and you were telling me that what was I going to say? But you were telling me that you don't know if you wanted to do a job kind of thing. You were like, oh, I loved flipping, like, but what made you go across America and start flipping? Like, how did you go around that entrepreneurial spirit, and what made you think about doing that? And
That
you know,
was just from giving myself a treat for going to school for so long and not doing something really, 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 really fun. So I don't know. It was a really stupid idea, but we still.
we documented it all. It's all on your channel. I thought it
I
was
mean, we didn't document everything. We documented maybe like 5 to 10% of it, but it
well.
was.
What I'm trying to get at is that the entrepreneurial spirit was within you, and
Yeah.
you're sharing it with people
FBA was
in
not.
hopes.
FBA was not within me, which was one of the biggest mistakes I would have made during that trip.
You know, we all have mistakes when we do this early. Let's start talking about these mistakes real quick. So I'm going to talk about the very obvious one. So once you leave corporate America, the very obvious mistake is there's no boss, right? So for someone like Rake and Profit, there was no manager above him or any boss. No one. You don't have to be anywhere. Okay. So a human's tendency, right, is to pick pleasure over pain. And that happens all the freaking time, more times than you can even think within a day. You're not even totally. It's all unconsciously done. You know, pleasure versus pain has gone back to when people were Neanderthals, right? Hurting yourself with a rock versus enjoying something with your Neanderthal wife, or starting a fire, burning yourself, and going, oh, that hurts, right? So you don't want to do that again. Well, that's the problem. When you're an entrepreneur, it's almost like you have to do the exact opposite. You have to find where the things are uncomfortable. You have to find where the things are painful, and you have to start answering those questions. And a lot of times it deals with your own inner head and your thoughts. So one of the things that people normally do when they become an entrepreneur at the very early stages is they go, oh, this is wonderful. They'll slack off a little bit, okay? People will slack off. It's kind of natural. You don't know really where you're going. You got something that's kind of working out, but you slack off a little bit. Cody, let's talk about those businesses that failed. The first one before the construction company. Why did that one fail?
Primarily it just failed because it was actually another construction company, but the way I had it structured was different, and didn't do enough research, wasn't good enough at my trade yet. I started this one at 19, my first legit business. I mean, I've been doing business since I was a teenager, but I don't really count them. But I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready. I struck out. I mean, all the money I had was like $5,000, which is actually more than I started my second business with. But yeah, I mean, just the business plan was terrible. The idea was terrible. The execution was terrible. I really needed that failure to propel me to where I got just a couple of years later. And a lot of times failure is some of the best learning lessons you can get as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so if you guys are watching this right now, we're talking about becoming an entrepreneur and what you can expect, but it's a clear kind of thing that we all have dealt with inner failures, or at the very beginning stages we've failed at certain things. It's very important. Should you be scared to go into becoming an entrepreneur because you're scared of a failure? You're going to have to find those failures. You're going to have to uncover them. It's very important to seek those failures because there's only so many failures that you go through before you actually get a winner. And a lot of times, you ever seen that? And I saw it in the green room the other day. There's a picture of 2 tunnels. Remember that, Raken? 2 tunnels being carved out, and it's going to the same diamond, except one guy is getting tired of just chiseling away, one guy's just chiseling away, and then the other guy is getting so tired, but he's like got this much more to get to the diamond, and he just gives up, right? But the other guy's just hacking away. So there's 2 types of people in this world. There's some people that really are cut out for this, and there's some people that aren't cut out for this, that think they're cut out for this, and they're just kind of just spinning their wheels. So you got to be very careful. Find out what kind of person you are, but know that things are almost stacked against you in the beginning. They really are. Until you find out who you are and what this revolutionary business thing that you want to create, you're kind of just spinning your wheels. So another realization that I came across when I was first becoming an entrepreneur was things got lonely real quick. I go from a place that has like hustle and bustle and like all this cool stuff, and workers in the boardroom, and then workers in lunchtime, and it's so much fun and getting to meet people all day long. Now, I go into a work for myself kind of thing where it's like I somehow pick a profession where there's not always someone next to you all the time, and my girlfriend works, and I got dogs at the house. So I got dogs, okay, but dogs aren't going to help me succeed in life. So, did you ever get a moment of loneliness there, CP, when you were, right out of college? Was there like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out, or I don't know who wants to come with me? How did that work out for you?
Doing it by myself definitely would have been lonely, but I knew it was stupid, and I knew we shouldn't do it, but I was like, whatever, let's do it.
Okay.
I don't think it's been done before.
Yeah, it definitely was not done before. And if you guys are wondering what we're talking about, look at his channel. There's a
Couple
documentary,
videos about
couple
some
videos
stuff.
of him going across the USA and picking, actually supplying himself the money through picking as he goes across the USA, which is a wonderful little series that you made. Raken, how lonely did it get after Cracker Barrel?
Well, especially when I was doing eBay full force and I was spending a lot of time just listing items and doing all the fun stuff that goes along with selling clothing, it got extremely lonely at times. And I remember I was still living at my folks' house, and they used to say, I mean, you ever going to come out of your bedroom? And I said, no, I'm building up this business. But it got lonely at times for sure. And, one thing you have to do is you have to manage your time and kind of reward yourself and, make sure you exercise and you take walks and you get outside the house. Because if you I know Cody's a huge proponent of this, doing like 2-hour bursts of work. Like if you stay in one place too long, it's going to mess you up in the head. It did for me for a while.
Cody, talk about that real quick. So I know you like to go on bouts where this is just the way you are, right? Just like there's some people that love waking up early in the morning, there's some people that just love going to sleep super late at night and waking up at like 10. Talk to us about that work ethic. First of all, was it kind of a lonely thing when you became an entrepreneur the very first time? Did you have a lot of support? Okay, family, friends, maybe coworkers. Did you have people? Did you hire people? And second, this work ethic that Raken's talking about, is it healthy to just plug away on, hours on end, or do you need to take those breaks to stay clear?
Yeah, when I first started, I had zero support from anybody. I hired employees quickly thereafter, but that's fake support. Of course, they want you to succeed. They want to keep getting their check. But from family and friends, I had zero support. They thought I was crazy. I already failed once, and when you fail, most people assume that you're just going to keep failing, and that's what stops a lot of people from becoming an entrepreneur, and it stops them from having that success is because they've had a failure or two, and they think that, oh, I did it once, I'm going to do it again. So no support whatsoever. As far as my work ethic, that's the only reason I am where I am today and have everything I have is because I knew that I had to keep going. So for me, the only way you can keep going, I used to be kind of like what CP's talking about. I used to run a big consulting firm, and we would do staffing and placement and things like that. That's what we did. And so I had hundreds of employees work for me. I was general manager. And so I learned quickly that the 8-hour work week is a joke, and the productivity levels are not even a third of that. But you really have no choice. There's no good fix for it right now. So I know in my business, I typically work in 2-hour bursts and then reward myself with little things in between. And that way I get the maximum amount of productivity, and I get crazy amounts done. That's why I have so many businesses, and I'm able to do so much is just because the way that I've structured my time management.
Okay, so now let's talk about, and we have our fifth admin here. What's up, Yang?
Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you. Introduce yourself for the people that might not know who you are.
Yes, I am Retro Aficionado, also known as Yang. Sorry, guys, I'm late. I supposedly had dinner plans with friends, but that fell through. But yeah, I live here in San Jose, California. Do eBay, FBA, Craigslist, let's see, antique booth, and a bunch of other stuff.
So you were definitely an entrepreneur with a full-time job.
Sure.
Something like that. Yang, real quick before we go into the comment feed, what did you have for dinner?
I didn't. The plans fell through.
You didn't have any dinner?
I didn't have any dinner.
So why are you late, young man?
What
Okay,
was that?
so, I guess we'll get to the nutrition part one day on this. Yeah, you got to eat, man. Eating keeps your mind clear, by the way, if you eat clean, by the way. So eat clean on a regular 3-hour schedule, smaller meals, small to medium. That'll definitely, A, boost your metabolism, and B, make you think clearer, trust me. And juices. Juices are good, too.
Jump on the trampoline.
Yeah, there you go. So let's go. Christopher Zergara, anyone here from New Jersey? We got Les. We got Amber Lynn, who Goldman Sachs made me miserable, and I thought it was the job I always wanted. Oh my gosh, that is the job that most people wanted coming out of a good college, was Goldman Sachs. If you worked at Goldman, boy, you've had it made. And same, actually, dude, my roommate back in senior year of college, dude, check this out. He's like, oh my God, man, I decided not to work for Bain & Company, which was like this consulting firm that would have paid him like a ton of money. And he was like, but instead, I'm working with my dream job. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, it's a company out of Houston. It's called Enron. And I freaking got the job, dude. I was like, congratulations, man. That's so cool. And anyway, so this is while we're on the Goldman thing. I decided I would talk about that because he went to go work for Enron for like 4 months, and then that whole thing went down, and I was like, what? That's the freaking place that he was talking about? Holy crap. Anyway, so that's my connection to Enron, guys. I'm still looking for an Enron hat, like in the Goodwill. I really always look for that. I think it would be cool to have one. So yeah, Goldman Sachs. We got. Okay. So there's a Julie Johnson comment that was really cool. I want to shout it out real quick. Lots of entrepreneurs when they're younger. Ray can listen to this. NCP. Walter Ruth. I started my entrepreneurial journey by fixing computers when I was 16 years old. It's pretty cool. I don't know what I was doing at 16. I think I was working at Blockbuster Video. I certainly wasn't fixing anything, and I wasn't mowing lawns. Okay, the other one, here, Cody Hawk was mowing lawns, and there was one thing by Julie Johnson I want to shout out. Where is it? Gosh, where is it? I started selling Bubble Yum and Tootsie Pops at my middle school in 7th grade and made a fortune until the school said I couldn't do it anymore. That's pretty cool. So yeah, the entrepreneurial lifestyle, I guess, can start very early. When we were doing the garage sale caravan here for the Green Room inside Austin, Texas, it was a lot of fun. But at the very tail end of that video, you saw a little kid making snow cones. Remember that, Cody? The kid that was making snow cones. I know College Picker remembers it because he was the one who was like, "All right, snow cones on me, man," acting like a baller. But these things were like $1. So
baller for $1.
that actually rhymed, man. But yeah, I mean, this little kid, not little kid, he was probably like 14, but he had that knack in him, and he was making money. And I even see Pete tipped him quite a bit. And I think I asked him a key question. I was like, what are you going to do with all the money you're going to make? He's like, I don't know. I just want to make a lot of money. I was like, oh, my God, that's the coolest freaking answer ever. I thought he was going to say, I want a bigger machine. I want some...
put a down payment on a house to rent out.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say something like that, right? Like reinvestment. No, he was just like, I just want a lot of money. I was like, oh, pretty good. Okay, so... here we go. So now that we're past the lonely part, and some of the entrepreneurs that are out there are becoming or soon to become entrepreneurs or people that have already done it can probably agree with me on this. There's going to be a little bit of depression involved, okay? There's going to be moments where, A, yeah, you totally doubt yourself, and B, you actually feel depressed. I'm talking like, lack of oxygen, you don't want to do anything, motivation's toast. There's going to be that. It's coming around. It just happens to everyone. Sometimes it happens like right after you have a failure, okay? Sometimes it happens right as soon as you're done, and you expect, see, the thing is with corporate America is you're accustomed to doing things and accomplishing things, right? People are on you for quotas and random stuff, and they're like, all right, cool, yeah, cool, I did it, and then that's over, right? And the sense of accomplishment now is you against you. So if you don't give yourself any goals, if you don't give yourself any kind of accountability, then how are you supposed to impress yourself? And usually you don't. And that's where the depression kicks in, guys. So you got to be very careful with that. The depression, I think, comes for everybody. It might not be labeled with the shortness of breath thing or the I don't want to work or loss of motivation, but it comes in different forms for everybody. And that's just one of those things. As you struggle to become great, the depression will come in here and there. It just does. It's doubt. It's your friends. It's your family. It's people telling you, are you kind of crazy? You know what you're doing? Raykin's nodding his head a lot like, this sounds kind of familiar. Raykin, echo a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so I mean, like when I first started, when I was selling clothing and whatnot and bicycles, people were kind of looking at me weird, my family and whatnot. They were supportive, but they were looking at me weird, like, really? You're going to sell clothes? You're going to sell used bicycles? And friends and whatnot, and even employees, people that worked at my job and whatnot, they doubt you. People are going to doubt you. It's going to happen. And to make a long story short, if people aren't doubting you, you're probably doing something too easy that's not going to have a big enough payoff to really have an impact. So I've actually made a video on this before, and I think it's just something that you need to expect and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because my next question, and I'm going to direct this to Cody, is, when your friends and family don't support you, it's not that they don't support you, but they doubt, right? Let's face it, they doubt. Because once you become a successful entrepreneur, you want to become one, you become almost the cream of the crop. You're thinking differently, you're trying to do different things, you're listening to podcasts, you're doing everything in your nature to become successful. But then you have your most loved people in your life who are starting to ask you questions, or like, is that sustainable? Or, could you do something bigger or better with your life? Cody, what does that feel like inside? I'm not saying it's directed towards you, but I've received it. It looks like Steve has. What does that feel like inside? And how long does that emotion usually last within you? Do you get kind of, bummed out for a week or two, or do you just take it in the hour or the minute and you're like, all right, you know what, I'm going to show these people? Talk to us about that, Cody.
When I was younger, I used to take it a little bit more personally, especially when it's your parents, because those are supposed to be the people that stand behind you. My parents, I don't have great relationships with, and even back then, they weren't super supportive. But now I could care less because I got a wife and 3 kids, and they know what I'm doing. They know what I'm doing for them, and they support it. We do a family business together. I get a lot of hate, whether it's on YouTube or people I know. It doesn't make a lot of difference. It kind of rolls off, and I think it's really important for an entrepreneur to kind of develop that. You want to surround yourself with positive people. They say that you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I'm not saying don't talk to family and friends, but be around positive people. Have a positive support system. And when people do say stuff like that to you, realize that typically they're uneducated on that specific topic. They usually don't know what they're talking about. Not that they're uneducated. I want to clarify. They're uneducated on that topic. So just nod and smile and move on, and don't let it affect you because it's not worth it.
Okay, and I see that Retro put something here in the comment feed. He said, regardless of what kind of education you have that you have, you just have to be happy with what you do in life. When he keeps saying you. So elaborate on that, Young, about what you meant on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you guys heard me mention, I'm a huge advocate of education. I've always said anytime you have an opportunity to get a college degree, you should always get one. But at the same time, you have to be happy. I mean, just because you pursue a degree in microbiology, it might not be, 5 years from now, it might not be what you want to do. I have a lot of friends who have PhDs, and just to give you a good example, these guys spent almost 10, 12 years pursuing a degree, and they come to find out that they're not happy. They're not happy doing any of that research. They don't want to do science anymore, and they end up becoming a sales rep. You just got to be, regardless of what you do in life, regardless of what kind of education you have, whether it's high school, college, whatever, do what you feel is best for you, and do what you feel, it's going to bring you happiness.
Okay. So Kevin Nielsen said this is getting real deep. Awesome. Amber Lynn says, yes, I totally agree with you, Young. So yeah, this is kind of a deep talk, but we take this very seriously because we've definitely lived it, and we're still living it now. Is what we're doing now the biggest and best thing ever? We like to work on it and think that it is. Could it be the biggest failure of our lives? It certainly could. But we're going forward with it with a good team, and like Cody said, you're the average of your team or the people that you hang out with the most. I hang out with these guys on the admin panel all the time. We're always talking, and I consider myself to be in a very good spot. So I would say that we're giving it the best push that we can, but we're giving pushes because we want to see if it's going to work or not. That is exactly why we're going forward, and because we know if we don't do anything, we've automatically failed. And automatically failing doesn't work with any of us 5. It just doesn't work. We're not wired that way. We need to know the end of the story before we can go to something else. But yeah, we just don't do that. So I'm not saying we're any different than most people, but I know that I've picked 4 people that inherently believe the exact same thing, which is like we got to see the end of that road. It's important, and we don't fight with each other. We're cool like that, right? And we're all successful in our own little ways, and we just happen to come together on something that we love to do, which is exactly what the Green Room is. It's just a very good place that deals with reselling, wellness, all kinds of things now. It's not just one thing, so it's amazing. So here we go. Let's talk about now. I'm going to talk about quickly about these realizations, okay? And then we're going to talk about the best part of the show, which is like now in the moment, how we live, because I'm pretty sure people want to know about that part. And I'm very curious to know about, because I talked to the rest of my admin staff about mostly Green Room stuff, right? But we're not delving into each other's lives like super hard, unless we get to Austin, and it's one of those kind of moments. But most of the time, we're just talking about business. We're getting things done. So let's talk about realization. So one of the things that I realized as soon as this is like the turnaround moment, I was like, okay, look, hard work is original hard work. I want to say, yes, hard work. Don't be copying people, okay? Copying people is the worst thing you can do, right? Be yourself. Do what works for you. If Reagan wanted to hustle bikes throughout the year, he would soon find out that in the wintertime it just doesn't work out in Connecticut. And he did find that out. So he had to do what worked out for him. He started hustling clothes, right? And he started figuring out what works in his, John, what works in his part of the country. It doesn't. It's not all the same wherever you go. But hard work, hard original work pays off. He was the first person to put an awesome guide, 101, then 102, then made blazing profits. He did things that were never done before, and he reaped the benefits from those things. And same with Cody with his free FBA course. I mean, Cody didn't have to do these things, but he decided, let's put a free FBA course out there, and it shut your site down, right? Didn't you have a site meltdown because people wanted it so bad?
Yeah, I crashed the site. I couldn't believe it. Like, I sent out an email, and thousands of people just were going there. And it was, a fool's move, but I was on a shared hosting plan because it was just a subdomain that I don't use. I built it on that, and I figured I would migrate it over as it gets more popularity. Oh, it was popular, all right, and it crashed the site, so I had to move it to its own server.
So you had a tiny failure, you immediately bounce back, you remedy the situation, right? But a tiny failure for the next time that you do something like this, you're not going to do it this same time again. You're not going to do it like you did. You're going to remember this time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's good, man. You're learning quick. So my realization, first of all, was like, yeah, these depression things are kind of sucking. I don't like them. And then second of all, really hard work is the only thing that pays off in this word. Hard original work, okay? Don't be copying people. It's kind of just a worthless habit to have. So, the get an early cardio kind of thing kind of stepped in. I was like, to combat the depression part, I had to start doing earlier cardio. I didn't want to wait till the tail end of my day to do the working out part, right? Because at the beginning of my day, I found myself getting depressed as soon as I woke up. I was like, dang, I need to get my ass in gear. I need to do, bigger, better things with my life, right? And so a lot of times I couldn't think clearly in the morning, right? Even the juice wouldn't help for me, at least. So what helped for me specifically was, going and doing cardio, getting on my bike and clearing my mind and going to places that have really nice vistas or something, putting myself in situations that I truly enjoyed. Like Yang says, do what you love to do. And I did that for like an hour out of the beginning of every day. And I found immense rewards by doing that. CP, do you ever just wake up? Do you have a certain thing that you do? Is it like eating breakfast in front of a TV? What makes you happy right as soon as you wake up? You're like, this is how I like to start my day.
Front of a TV. What?
No, but I'm saying, like, everyone is different, dude. Everyone is totally freaking different. That might be exactly how you get your mind clear.
No, I wake up and I read it out of the Bible for the first,
there you go.
5
See,
minutes.
I mean, you do that. I think raking trampoline and some juice stuff. What's going on,
And
man?
watch cartoons with cereal.
Yeah, I go through my morning routine, so it entails a lot of stuff. Getting my body moving, meditation, journaling, reading my goals. That really gets me feeling pretty powerful and positive to move forward.
Okay. Cody, I mean, how do you start off your mornings? Do you have like your kids jumping on your bed, or like how does that work out? How does that start?
Yeah, so I've got a really in-depth morning routine also, but that's for me the biggest thing, and I actually talked to you guys a little bit about this when I was in Austin. My life's a lot different than the 4 years because I have 3 kids, one of which is 4 months. So for me, it's finding a quiet corner of my house and, journaling for a little bit, meditating for a little bit. That goes so far because, my house is loud. I mean, I got 3 kids, 7 to 4 months, and so that little, half hour of quiet time, to me, that's how I like to start my day to get my mind right.
Yep. We got a lot of people putting in what they do in their morning routine. This is fascinating stuff. I'm telling you, not only am I fascinated by hearing my staff and what they're saying, but seeing this in the comment feeds is really interesting. So you guys should go look at it because I'm going to shout a couple of them out.
Was that a true statement? Are we now your staff?
No, but I call us like we're all staff. I mean, we're staff. We're staff, right? Anyway, now you're making me. Never mind. Okay.
We're partners.
Yeah. Okay. We're partners. I call it staff. I don't know why. It just sounds like
Staph infection.
like the thing that Gandalf is holding in his hand in Lord of the Rings. Okay. So Yang, you wake up. Are you like every other person? Do you just like freak out and then you get in your car, get in traffic? How does this work out?
First of all, I do this, which I forgot to do this morning.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you saved that for the hangout, bro.
Allergies. I don't really. I'm gonna. Well, I mean, what you said is kind of true. I do have a day job, so I'm up. I get ready, and then I'm out the door. But I don't really have a set schedule. I mean, I've told you guys, I can pretty much make my own schedule. But I like to be in the office at 8, no later than 8:30. Saturdays I'm up early. I'm hitting up the garage sales. Usually Sundays is the only day that I sleep in, and that's my day to rest and relax. But I'm always just up and I'm out the door, man. I don't waste any time.
Okay, so what about like when you're in your car? Like, do you put music on? Do you blast? Do you listen to classical? Do you have no music? Do you?
It varies. I listen to every day is different. I listen to sports radio. I might listen to some jazz, some hip hop,
Okay,
podcasts. It's always different. Just depends on what I'm in the mood for.
okay. You don't strike me as the kind of guy who gets really stressed out about anything, but
No,
um,
no.
and neither with any of you guys. Just anyway. Okay, so let's talk about some of these people and what they're doing with their spirit, with their mornings. So here's one. Oh, here's my favorite one. So I might have to go hang out with this person one day. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but it says Fly Guy 22190, so I'm assuming it's a guy. So as soon as I wake up, I go longboarding. Oh, that's the life right there.
That's awesome.
That's the bona fide life right there. That's what I am.
What if it's raining?
I know one
Go
person
anyway.
out of my, I don't even know how many friends I have on Facebook, but out of all of them, there's only one. There's one that surfs every morning. One. And he lives in Hawaii. He was on my videos. And he actually surfs every single morning. It's the first thing he does. So let's talk about some of the people here. Hiking is great too. Getting in that fresh oxygen in. That's from Cody Orgil, and he has a YouTube channel, by the way. You can check it out, and he's not BSing anybody because his channel is like him walking in the woods, selfie style, like Cody Hawk, with like the phone right in front of him and everything like that. Not afraid, if the wildlife says anything to him. He's he's that kind of a guy, and I've seen the videos. So yeah, and he talks big stuff. So go subscribe to Cody Orgil if you get a chance. He's definitely out there doing exactly what he's talking about. Here we go. ComfortZoneStudio.com. The Green Room admin partners staff are all very awesome. I learned a lot from each of them. Thank you, gentlemen. You rock. So thanks for the kind comment. We love that, man. Very cool of you to write that down. By Christopher Zergara, guys, I'm really happy with this hangout. Thank you.
Awesome.
Fly Guy 22190, Bonafide, I got to get your 5-foot longboard, LOL. So in my video, I showed that I have a really long longboard, and I skate on it. It's pretty cool. Gold Life, as soon as I wake up, I play Call of Duty. Then I start sourcing. Hey,
Whatever works.
I love the honesty.
just like Cody said, if that works, then there you go. Christopher Zergara, I watch cartoons and coffee with a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Okay. The Gold Life,
awesome.
by far the best show live right now. Thank you so much. Thrifty Treasures, 30 minutes with my coffee before anything. A lot of people do that, right?
I used to be like that.
Oh, yeah?
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee. Do you do that, Young, in the morning? Yeah? No? Damn.
No.
Let's think here. Christopher Zergara, the staff comment was so funny. Okay. Mike Decker, I'm a morning Bible reader also, just like CP. See?
Good.
And Fly Guy is saying something. He's echoing on somebody else's comment, but stay away from the computer screens and the phone. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. I mean, I do that in the morning. Well, no, I'd be lying because almost every morning I always check to see if I sold something overnight. I just love that feeling. And then what else do I do? I check random stuff to see if I got tagged in any green room stuff that I have to get to. So anyway, let's continue this awesome hangout. We got 12 minutes left. So let's talk about now. Present day Reagan, present day Young, present day CP, present day Cody, and present day Bonafide. Let's talk about what we've done with our learning, okay? Because if you're not learning anything while you're becoming an entrepreneur, likely you're just spinning your wheels, okay? You're not going to get it's not that you're not going to get anywhere. You'll probably get there. It's just going to take you a whole lot of time. So at some point, you're going to get your ass in gear and go, okay, things aren't working. You're going to start reflecting and go, okay, if I continue down this road, I might not make the money that I want to make till I'm like 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like you can start forecasting things and you go, okay. You have to have the kind of mentality that looks at things that aren't working and you take action against it. Like Cody was saying before, if you see a failure, then that's great. Don't do it again, and revise, revamp, and then charge ahead. So let's talk about now that now present day hustlers, present day business owners, present day entrepreneurs, present day part-time hustler, full-time job people. It's all here on the admin staff. Okay. So yeah, now I'll talk about me. Actually, you know what? This is Raken's show. Let's let Raken go first.
So one thing that I do presently that I didn't do before, and this just destroyed everything for me, was organization. So I've got literally a whole system now for, first of all, step one, capturing any idea, because I'm running 7 or 8 different things at once. So I have a whole system for when I capture an idea. Actually, I'll show it to you right here. I have a something called an inbox. So any idea I have, if I want to shoot a video for the K-Business Academy or for YouTube or for the vending machine business, for anything, I write it on a note card. I actually have them right next to my desk. I write it down. I throw it in my inbox. Then each and every day, I make sure to go through my inbox and get it all done. I've got tons of different organization things keeping me on track. I mean, I've got folders for all the different businesses I have, and I've got crap. I just destroyed it. But anyways, okay. What the hell with this show? I'm unorganized. But
that's why you use Evernote.
Organization is huge. I use a lot of Google calendars, a lot of folders, a lot of systems. And if you're not organized, especially if you're an entrepreneur running multiple businesses, you're going to have a hard time taking action because you're not going to know what to do. And also, to go a step further, you're not going to know what the most important thing is that you should be doing. Because as an entrepreneur, there's always things you can do, right? There's no shortage of things on your to-do list. But kind of like Tim Ferriss, what he says, somebody asked him, they said, well, how are you so successful? You must be working all day long. And he said something along the lines of, if you followed me around during the day, you think I'm just a normal person. I don't do anything that impressive. But what he said is he chooses what he does very wisely. He does very high leverage activities. And that's what I like to do as well. And it all comes back to organization. If you're, in my opinion, if you're just waking up in the morning and you're just going with the day, right? And you're just kind of just randomly going, like, you might get to where you want to go, but it's going to take you so much longer. You're going to waste so much time. Whereas if you actually had a roadmap and you knew exactly what you're going to do, you're going to get there that much more quicker and a lot more effectively. So creating systems to stay organized, Google Docs, Google Calendars, folders, filing systems, my inbox. If you guys want to read a really good book that can help you to get organized and create these systems, check out the book by David Allen called Getting Things Done. And I implement his whole system into my life, and it allows you to get a lot done.
Okay, cool. That's one of the things I was going to ask each one of us, is to either shout out a YouTube channel that has inspired you, or shout out a book that you are like, oh, I love that book. That's the book. So, okay, so let's go to Young. Young, let's talk about now and how you run your business. And yes, you are basically a part-time entrepreneur. But how do you run? I mean, not how do you run your business, but what can you give the people out there in YouTube land as a suggestion, or this is my key takeaway from doing things wrong, and this is what works for me. This is what I think people should do. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, coming from a part-time entrepreneur, I would say one advice that I can give you really is don't make any excuses. Okay. The minute or even the second that you make an excuse, you've already lost the game, okay? If there's a garage sale that starts at 7 and it requires you to be up at 6, do it. No excuses. Again, if you make an excuse, someone's already beat you to it, and that profit's already gone. Be on top of your game. Don't make any excuses. I'm telling you. I mean, I've seen it way too many times where people make so many excuses, and it just kills their whole business, okay? Like, a good example is, I'm going to go out sale tomorrow morning, okay? I'm going to go hit that up before I go to work. No excuses. I'm going to wake up an hour early, and I'm going to go hit it up. That's just the way I do it.
But also, you totally love what you do, right?
I do love what you mean my day job?
No, I'm talking about the garage sale thing. I mean, you love sourcing, right?
I absolutely love what I do. Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I've been doing for a long time now. I don't see myself quitting anytime soon. I mean, and I said this before. If you love and if you enjoy doing something, it's not work. The minute that you don't enjoy doing something, that's when it's work. That's when it's labor. But I enjoy going to garage sales. It doesn't. I mean, it's fun.
Yep, I agree with you, man. I do it all the time. You can see it through my ride-alongs. So now let's take it to CP. What are some of the things that you can give the viewers that are watching right now, kind of like the edge to combat the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and like your key learning from being, right now, going, okay, this is definitely the way to do it. This is the way to do have no stress and do this. Like, what would you say?
Get your relationships in line.
Okay, so now you're going the love life direction. That's good. So get your relationships with friends, family, or mostly.
Either way, if you feel like you're disappointing anybody, you can't. I don't know. I sold all my camera equipment because people told me that like I was an embarrassment and stuff. So I'm getting over that. So.
Wow, well, that's news. Okay, so
say that again, CP. You got rid of your camera equipment?
Yeah, I sold it. I sold it like almost a year ago. And
wow.
I just got the 7D with Chris at a pawn shop, so I'm hopefully going to get a fluid head and be able to start filming some stuff. I'm on the waiting list for a garage, so I'll have a place where I can set up some lights and hopefully make a little studio. It'll be fun.
Yeah, man.
You're an embarrassment. You with the best videos in this entire, not out of the 5 of us, but literally pretty much on YouTube in our space, you have some of the best editing skills and the best videos, period. And I hate to say it because I put out videos almost every day, and my editing's came a long way, but I still don't hold a candle to you, buddy. So I don't know who said you're an embarrassment, but that is a joke.
Yeah, you got to see, like, you know, when people come down on you like that, right? Even if it's people that you love, you got to say, well, what amazing things have you done? Like right now, I mean, how amazing is your life that where you can bring down something that you love? It doesn't make sense, right? But I think it's just that natural thing. I think friends and family have that doubt. They have that, you know, they want to kill some great things, and you know, if you allow them to kill great things, you'll never see the end of that road, right? You'll never know.
Bright side of it
Never
is
know.
the bright side. The bright side of it is I did get $100 more for the T3i than I paid for it because I sold it before the T5i came out. So.
So yeah, people are asking more CP YouTube videos, and I have to echo what Raken said. I mean, not Raken, but Cody said, man, your videos are freaking light years.
I said it in my vlog. I said it in one of my vlogs in Austin. I even said, you know, contact CP, tell him to make more videos, dude. The last thing you are is an embarrassment.
Yep, and I agree with that completely, man. I've hung out with you so many times, and you got a lot of passion for all kinds of things. Yeah, see, when I think about College Picker, right, the first thing that comes to my mind is like the guy's a sponge, and what I mean by that is the kid soaks up everything around him. Anything, man. He's down for good food, down for a good drink, he soaks it up, all of it, man. I can take him to the roughest trail in Austin, and he won't be complaining. He'll just be soaking it up. And
dude, my lower back was bad.
But still, you know, your lower back was bad. It's a past tense kind of thing. So you know that's what you didn't know that going into it. Of course, if we knew that was going to happen, I wouldn't have taken you there. But you just soak it up. You don't ever say no to anything. So like that's a real good thing to have. Most people say no to a lot of things, man. I'm telling you. To have a gift like that, to just be like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, or yeah, sure, I'll fly across the country and see that person for their wedding. I mean, you have a very like free, amazing schedule, and it's partly due to, you know, you have a contract job, and the second part is you like to travel and you're a minimalist, so you can just pick up and go, which is crazy, you know.
Flying to Florida in a couple days.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, and he's gone across the, you know, not across. Well, yeah, he's gone across one part of the U.S. on a scooter. I mean, who does that, right? So for anyone to say that you don't amount to anything, I mean, really question what those people have done with their own lives. So, come up, King. If it wasn't for y'all green room admins, I wouldn't have jumped back into reselling. See, so you know, we aim to inspire. That's all we care about doing. This channel and this new channel, the Green Room, is all about you know, really propelling yourself to do the best that you can. If you pick reselling, that's great. If you pick any other profession, we're going to help you get there, and that's what it's all about. So, you know, we have a lot of people here we have people like Cody, who started out as a reseller, has branched out to many different bigger things. We have people like CP, who still crushes it on FBA. We have myself, who does a lot of things. We have, you know, content creators like Raken, who's into a gumball machine business. We're trying to cover it all here. I mean, really, we're trying as hard as we can, but at the same time, we're very generous in what we do. We want to definitely put these free shows out for you guys. So one of the best things that you can do right now, and I'm pointing my old Farmer's Bic pen at you, okay? Farmer's Insurance. I used to work there. I'm pointing it at the camera right now. One of the best things that you can do for us right now, Raken, tell them what it is.
Hit the like button.
Hit that like button. Burn some calories. I don't know. I mean, how many calories do you think they would burn? I mean, let's not get overly scientific, but we've said it before, but let's really break it down for them.
I think it's 0.0002 of a calorie. So this is not like Periscope, guys. You hit it one time and we'll know that you're there. Periscope, you have to hit it a million times to beat everyone out of the heart war thing. But here in YouTube land, it's just one click away. You can show your support for the Green Room Hangouts. And yeah, maybe we'll have a season 3, a season 4. But season 2 is definitely well underway. We have 46 viewers. And we're really proud that you guys are watching us and trying to learn something from us. And what's really cool is like someone on Periscope, when I was Periscoping right before this Hangout, someone was like, I'm so ready for this Hangout. I got my notepad ready. Can you believe it?
Oh, cool.
Seriously.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a notepad, right? I mean, that's going old school, right? Cody. I mean,
absolutely. I still use notepads all the time. I got like 20 of them right here.
Okay, cool.
Isn't that a program?
What'd you say?
Isn't that a program? Notepad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so is, I mean, Evernote's really good too.
Evernote's what Steve needs.
I don't need it, man. I'm trust me, I'm good. I get stuff done. You guys know me. If I say I'm gonna do something, it gets done.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
now we've heard CP's like, he's going to get back into everything and everything, and he knows what his business is going to be like now. We'll go into myself, now fully scheduled out, really um, going kind of like the raking route, scheduling myself out for certain things. I already know, usually by Sunday of the week, like what my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to look like with the obligations with not only my staff, but shows that we're running internally in the green room and shows that we're running here right now that you're watching on YouTube. Plus stuff that I want to edit. I'm trying to get Boddamn, my workout channel, to a really nice proportion of people and influence. So doing that as well. So let's talk about what I've done now and the scheduling, routine activities with fitness as my #1 priority. It's always kind of been like that, but like I said, sometimes I would just take the fitness to like the tail end of the day and like the 4 to 5 window, And now it's like I wake up and I work out, right? I wake up, I work out, and then it's like I want to work out even more. And then I go throughout my day and I wait till the sun goes down because it's like 100 degrees here in Austin, Texas, and I still work out again. I try to get out there with my dogs. I do things all during the day. It's a fun life. I love it. But that's what keeps my mind clear. I've learned the hard way. I was like, I don't want any more of these depressive little dumb moments, right? I want to be confident. I want to be cool. I've always been pretty confident, but when the depression comes around, these little micro bouts of depression, it's tough, man. It really is. It's doubt. It's the people telling you, you can't do it, and like, why don't you do something different? And we're all going to go through it, okay? So if you're going down this road, be prepared from your lovely family and friends that they're going to start asking you. They might not tell it to your face, but these little questions, right? These little probing questions. Don't be surprised because that's exactly what they're getting at, And then let's think here. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would hustle Friday and Saturday to my fullest content, just have a lot of fun, still knocking that out, and then content creation all the way through Monday, or Sunday through Thursday, right? That's an ideal world for me where I'm making workout videos and all that kind of stuff, and maybe thrifting once during the week, which I did today. Videos coming out on my channel later. That'll be an ideal world. I'm getting close to getting there. So I did it last week. I'm going to try to do it this week. I think I did it the week before last. So as stated before, I built a gym in my garage, which was quite the task. It was not easy to do. Cody's been in there. College Pickers worked out in that a couple times now. Rakin just takes my bicycles and just goes flying down the freaking neighborhood. And then Yang does the same thing, man. It's like I don't even get a chance to say, yeah, see you guys later. It's just like, hey, I'm going to get your bike. See you later, man. Bye. And that's like it. Like when they're in town, they know Bonafide's got the bike support covered. And then here's the big thing, okay? So I was going to make a Periscope video about this today, and we're going to echo on this real quick. We're 3 minutes over, but we're going to get done real soon. I call them unprofitable loops. People always go through these. So even now, this is probably my largest battle today, is these things called unprofitable loops. It's like getting on your social media devices or your laptop, right? And you start checking Facebook, right? And then you're like, oh, I wonder what's going on. And then 18 scrolls later with the thumb thing, you're like, okay, I didn't learn anything, right? You're just like coping with the day. And then you go into maybe Instagram for a little bit, and then you look at that, and then you go into Twitter, and then you go in, and then we go into the green room, we answer questions, and then guess what happens? I do it all over again. Like 3 more loops, man. I'm just looping around, doing this, and it smokes up like 20, sometimes 30 minutes of a day. That's my biggest thing that I'm battling with right now. I'd say it's way over the Netflix and the freaking watching some TV, which is not that much, but still, I wish I could cut it out. Do you ever do these unprofitable loops, Rakin, ever?
Oh, all the time. I mean, I put things in place to avoid it as much as possible, including the morning routines, and that lasts all the way through the afternoon. But all the time, I mean, social media, it's tough because it's very important for our business, especially as content creators and YouTube channels and the green room and stuff like that. We need to get on there and interact, but it's the balance, right? It's balancing out work and play, and it's okay to play, but it's like so addicting. You'll be on it, next thing you know, an hour and a half has passed. Especially YouTube. I get on these YouTube binges where it's like I'm watching an educational video. Next thing you know, I'm watching a cat jump off a bridge and freaking jump on a ski-doo, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing with my life right now?
Yeah, I call those unprofitable loops, man. It's just a loop. It's just this vicious circle, and it doesn't profit you in any way. Except for the green room part. When we have to answer green room stuff and engage, like that's obviously like our baby, and we do that. We don't mean for that to be unprofitable because that's obviously profitable. But Cody, unprofitable loops. You ever go through them present day? We're not talking about back in the day. We're talking about present Cody Hawk. Being a content creator. Do you go through unprofitable loops every now and then?
I go through them a lot more when I'm traveling because a lot of downtime, and as much as I tell myself I want to work, I can't seem to work as much while I travel as I always envision. And then when I'm at home or when I'm at my office, I do once in a while, but I really try to fight them. But I absolutely will go through them once in a while.
Okay. CP, I know you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, Green Room, and soon to be Periscope. I've had requests to even ask you to get on Periscope. Just so you know,
I've gotten a request for Periscope, but no, I usually just get into binges of profitable things or in some way gaining knowledge. Because today I think I spent maybe 10 hours reading Prius forums and watching videos on repairing the batteries.
I love it, dude. I love this guy.
That sounds like a profitable loop. It's going to lead you to not spend.
That's what I'm saying. In some way or form or shape, I'll either be able to repair a Prius that has a messed up battery for about $45 if it's one cell. Normally, 1 or 2 cells die on them, not the entire battery pack. If you buy a new battery pack, it's like $1,200 to like $3,000 if you get it from Toyota. If you do the cells themselves, it's about $45 a piece. So. It just takes a multimeter and knowing what you're doing.
You like getting your hands dirty, and I know you want to get a Prius, which is.
I like seeing how machines work.
Okay, cool. Young, unprofitable loops. Do you ever get into them? I see you on Facebook and I see you on Periscope, Young, a lot.
Periscope no, Periscope is addicting. It is, man. That's not safe, dude.
Yeah, so do you ever go through these loops? I mean, Periscope is addicting, but do you ever go through a loop where you're like, okay, you end a Periscope session, then you go through Facebook, you check some stuff, then you go to email, and then you're like, nothing's there, then you go right back to Periscope again, or right back to Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Where you know you've checked whatever you're wanting to check like 2 minutes ago, but for some reason you go through checking it again, right?
Yeah, you know what I've been doing? I have been, and I've, you guys know that I recently took the plunge into a Kindle. My gosh, man, I'm checking that thing over and over again. No, man. And it's been subpar, but I'm working on it. But yeah, I'm constantly checking that darn thing. It's that's addicting too, man. It's a good thing they don't have an app for that, because I'll be on it all the time.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't have the app, Young?
Don't even start. Don't start.
So we got someone that came in here late, Torin B1, who is an avid Periscope supporter of mine. He's also a member of I see a lot of Green Room people in this Hangout, which is great. You know what? When I looked at it now, I realized that not only is our own community supporting this Hangout, which is wonderful, but these are people that really, really want to hone in on the game, right? In the game of winning life, and it's a lot of fun, right? You're never gonna truly be like the master. You're never gonna truly be at the end, but you can be inspired by people that have gone through some really troublesome times and some times that have really tested them, and you can learn from them, so that way you don't make any of those mistakes yourself. So it's one of the things that Warren Buffett always says is, make mistakes, but they don't have to be yours. So that's what we tried to do in this show. I hope you liked the show. We're about to end it, as you can tell in my tone. I hope you like the show, and it's just one of those things that we're definitely turning over a different leaf here in Green Room Season 2. And, there might be a couple reselling things here and there, but we are really going to show you different parts of our life and how we master these certain things, and we're going to show you how to really improve your life throughout all these videos, and maybe some of these wonderful guests that are coming down the road. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you start watching Season 2. I will leave the closing, since I think Cody did it last time. Am I right, Cody? Did you close last shows out?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. So why don't we let, since this is Raken's show, why don't we just let Raken close the show out, and I'll just leave with my 1-2 sentences, which is, thank you for watching. We really value the fact that you've taken all the time that you could have taken right now with your family and friends, TV, whatever, and you've spent it here. That means a whole lot to us. Trust us.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so I want to end it by saying, being an entrepreneur is going to be a battle. You're going to have the times where you're on the top of the world and everything's going amazing, and then there's going to be the times where you're all the way at the bottom and you're fighting and you're not sure, if you could keep going, and people are telling you, just stop, you can't do it, you're a failure, this and that. But at the end of the day, you need to expect that you're going to have highs and lows, and you're going to have to fight through it, and you can fight through it. You can make it happen, and we live in an information age now. if you're struggling with anything, just look it up on the internet. You know, go on YouTube. You know, get in the green room or join any of the other Facebook groups and get around like-minded people. And there's a lot of people out here that will help you out, right? We're all here to help you out. We're just a private message away, Facebook, YouTube. So many people could help you out with this battle. You don't have to be alone. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we created the green room and our YouTube channels and all. So we're here to support you. Keep pushing forward. We appreciate you all watching. We're so grateful to have you here. And
like the video, right,
Rick? Hit the like button. Hit the like button right now. Burn some calories. Show some love. And follow me on Periscope at Rake and Profit.
Oh, you.
I'm trying to beat Chris out. He's taking the lead on me on Periscope. But anyways, everyone, thanks for watching, and have a great night.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.